2020 coming to a close, I wanted to share with you my list of my top 10 favorite movies of the year. This is by no means the best movies universally praised. These are just my personal favorite movies that I saw this year. Let's kick things off with number 10. Number 10 is going to be the Amazon original I Am Your Woman. It is a 1970s crime drama about a woman who's forced to go on the run after her husband betrays his partners, and it leaves her and her child off on a dangerous journey. Now, my favorite part of this movie was probably the 70s set atmosphere. It has a very film noir vibe to it, and it has really great cinematography. The costume design was great. I really loved the big fluffy coats and clothes they wore. It was just a really good drama. It's not very fast paced, but the slow pace really fits with the story being told. Really enjoyed this one. Number 9 on this list is going to be Spontaneous, directorial debut of Brian Duffield. This movie is really bizarre. It's not your typical high school coming-of-age love story. It has a very twisted, dark sense of humor. Essentially about these two high school students. It's their love story, but what's going on around them is that they're trying to survive and deal with the pressures of their fellow classmates are just exploding randomly. So the government gets involved and is trying to figure out, there's no explanation as to what is happening. I really like the message behind that. It's very, it's told with the kind of dark satirical way, and there's a really twisted sense of humor. That being said, it is the movie I laughed the most while watching, even though it is very twisted and weird. I just really enjoyed it, so that's going to be my number 9. Next up on my list at number 8, I'm going to have The Broken Hearts Gallery. Now, I'm a sucker for a good romantic comedy, and this one just hits every check mark. It goes through all the cliches as your typical rom-com does, but I really liked the friendship between the two main characters. Of course, it blossoms into a romance at the end, as per usual. But the friendship they had, I thought was really fun and enjoyable. It's also a very good-looking movie. There's certain locations in the movie that I thought were really cool. Decker Montgomery's character, he's trying to create this hotel that each section of it is kind of a nostalgic piece of like memory where people would have been throughout their lives. It was a really cool concept and just a cool idea for a romantic comedy. I liked that setting. This is just a solid romantic comedy, one of the best I've seen in recent years. That's why I'm putting it on this list. Moving on to number 7, I'm going to have Leigh Whannell's adaptation of The Invisible Man. This isn't exactly what I would have wanted for an adaptation of The Invisible Man story, but it works so well. Bringing it into a modern setting and having it deal with this domestic abuse, it just fits so well in the time we're living in right now. Everything he did in this movie just worked for me. The way he directs his action scenes is so unique. The way he does his one takes. He has a really distinctive style with his action scenes, and it works really well. He displayed that greatly in his prior movie, Upgrade, and this is no different in this movie. Just a really good story that took such an old story, brought it into modern times, and it worked so well. That's why Invisible Man is on this list. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Love and Monsters, which might just be the most fun I had watching a movie this year. This is the perfect definition for this movie, is pure fun. The monster designs are awesome. Dylan O'Brien's character is likable and goofy. His relationship with the dog companion that he has I thought was so nice. It's just such a fun and enjoyable movie. Super lighthearted, everybody can enjoy it. I had a blast with this movie. A full review if you want to hear more of my thoughts about it. Love and Monsters is number 6. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Wolfwalkers. Wolfwalkers has beautiful, unique animation, awesome character design, a story reminiscent of the Disney Renaissance films. I just had such a good time watching this movie. The art is just so beautiful. Each time you can pause it, you're going to have like a picture you can frame on your wall. It is just such an enjoyable movie. Wolfwalkers. Full review on the channel if you want to hear more. Moving into number 4, I have Disney Pixar's Soul. Soul was such a great movie. From the music by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, how it changed from our real world to the in between life and death world I thought was so cool. It had the jazz vibes, it had the electronic vibes that we've come to know from them. The characters were so good. It was probably one of Pixar's most mature movies I've ever seen. I really enjoyed that. I personally don't think this is a movie that kids are gonna love. I think it's more of an adult's movie. It just really hit for me. I thought certain aspects of it were reminiscent of more anime style films, not American animated movies. I just thought this was a great movie. It really hit for me. Soul is my number 4 favorite movie of the year. Coming in at number 3 is going to be probably the most divisive movie that has come out this year. That being Christopher Nolan's Tennant. And everyone thinks when Christopher Nolan comes out with a movie, it's going to be the greatest movie ever made. It has to be a masterpiece. I don't think that's the case. I don't think Tenet is Nolan's best movie. That being said, lesser Nolan is still greater than most movies that come out today. Now, I went into Tenet first viewing, and I'll be honest, I didn't quite get it. It didn't fully hit for me. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I went back a second time, and it was a completely different experience. Everything just landed. I understood it. I got what they were going for, and it just was just a whole new experience seeing this movie twice. I highly recommend, if you've only seen it once and you didn't love it or didn't really like it, give it a second try. The puzzle comes together, and I personally really got it better the second time. Tenet is my number 3 favorite movie of the year. Now we're at number 2. Number 2 is gonna be Relic. Favorite horror movie I saw this year. Relic follows 3 generations of women, grandmother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. And it deals with them coping with this grandmother going through dementia. I don't actually think they ever say it's dementia in the movie. They display it as a manifestation of like a monster, and it's a really creepy atmosphere. That's my favorite thing in this movie. The atmosphere of it was so creepy. The way the manifestation of dementia honestly was terrifying to me. This is one of the scary horror movies I've seen lately. I really, really enjoyed it. It's really creepy. The atmosphere is just hauntingly beautiful. Relic is my number 2 favorite movie of the year. Here we are, number 1. My favorite movie I watched in 2020 is honestly a super underseen, under-talked about movie. I haven't heard anything about this movie. Possibly because it has the worst title it could possibly have. And that is Shithouse. Now, this movie is written, directed, and starring Cooper Raiff. The thing with this movie, and why it is my number 1 favorite movie of the year, I connected with it so much, with the main character. And it follows a college freshman as he deals with loneliness and homesickness. The majority of the movie is him and this girl walking around at night, going to bury her pet turtle that had died that day. It's really these 2 characters who are both dealing with different things and them coming together. I just thought it was beautiful. The title is terrible. The title is in reference to a frat house, that the nickname of it is Shithouse. But the movie itself was so beautiful. The performances I thought were incredibly real and emotional. Cooper Raiff was just incredible. The emotion he displayed, the direction, the conversations they had, and the writing was just so fresh. I just really latched onto this movie and loved the characters so much. Personally, it is my number 1 because of how much I connected with it. A lot of these movies are just pure fun and I enjoyed them, but I couldn't exactly connect with them fully on an emotional level. With this movie, it just hit so well for me. Highly recommend checking this movie out if you haven't already. That is it. Those are my personal 10 favorite movies of the year. They may not be necessarily the best movies of the year, but the ones that I enjoyed the most and that I connected with the most. Let me know what you thought of these movies. and let me know what your favorite movies of the year are. As always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more like it, consider subscribing. Stay safe, keep loving cinema.